They walked right past her, laughing, leaning into lockers, their voices like static in the hallway. She kept her head down, long braids swinging softly, one hand brushing the spine of her notebook as she headed toward room 124. She was always quiet, always present, but never the center of attention. Madison Clarke was the kind of student who existed in the margins, top of her class, eyes always observing, thoughts always racing, but a whisper in the crowd. Yet today even that whisper was enough to set them off. It started this morning in biology class, when she raised her hand to answer a question about DNA replication. Her voice was measured, confident. She explained the complex process of polymerase and helicase with ease. The teacher nodded, praised her clarity. The white students in the back row shared glances, smirked at each other. As soon as class ended, rumors floated. She thinks she's so smart. Quiet freak. What's with the attitude? Nothing malicious, yet enough to pull her into the swirl. At lunch, Madison sat alone at her usual table by the windows, her sandwich untouched, algebra notes open. Across the room a group of girls gestured toward her, rolling their eyes, mimicking her posture. A boy smirked and whispered into his phone. Madison looked up, defended herself with a steady gaze. His smirk wavered, and that made her realize something. She could hold their stare, but would it change anything? What she didn't expect was the text message that afternoon. We should all call her out together. No signature. Just an invitation, and it felt like an ambush. 2 hours later her best friend, Chloe, stopped talking to her. The text came, "Everyone says you're rude. Don't sit with us today." Chloe, who'd shared laughs and jokes, now crossed the hallway like she didn't know Madison. A tight knot formed in Madison's stomach. By third period, the whispers lurked under every sentence she spoke. In math class she answered a question correctly, and someone guffawed. A pencil bounced off the desk. "Look at that little show-off." The teacher didn't hear. The room rippled as Madison clenched her pen, closed her book, sank into silence. The bell rang. She packed up, shoulders stiff. She passed a trio of girls fanning glances and fake smiles. One bumped into her shoulder. "Watch it, freak." Madison didn't react. She didn't flinch. She remembered biology, she remembered algebra, she remembered standing tall. She would not give them the satisfaction. She walked home, feet deliberate on cracked sidewalks, refusing the urge to run. At home her mother asked if everything was okay. Madison shrugged, changed for volleyball practice. On the court, the balls thudded beneath fluorescent lights, cheers and whistles momentarily pushed away everything else. She served like lightning, scored twice. The team cheered. That felt good, until she stepped off the court and saw her coach shake her head. "Hold on," he said. He led her to the side. "Madison, there's a rumor, they heard what you said to the principal." Madison stiffened. She'd been called to the office yesterday about tardiness, but only about that. "We heard you said school leadership looks biased and needs real change. That you called staff racist." Madison's throat tightened. That wasn't what she said, but maybe that was how it sounded. She shook her head. "I said I want fairness." Her coach frowned. "In a few days, next week, you'll be speaking to the student council about unity, or you won't play." The ultimatum hung between them, conform or sit. "I'll think about it." Madison nodded and left practice, ball of pressure growing in her chest. That night, she found a voice note in her group chat from the trio of girls. The voice was taunting. "We've got you," it said. "You talk too much. You think you're better. Show up next Tuesday. We'll set things straight." No emoji. No signature. Just a threat masquerading as a dare. Madison stared at her phone. Rough edges of fear cut in. But beneath it something else stirred, like resolve. Maybe it was her decathlon dreams, her essay on Newton, her plans for college. Maybe it was knowing she worked harder, dreamed bigger, cared more. Tonight she typed a reply, "Make it worth my time." The next morning at school the hallways felt different, less crowded, quieter. But the lunchroom was jam-packed. Madison's eyes scanned for Chloe, saw nothing familiar. Her cheeks warmed. She tucked the voice note away. She walked toward room 124 and paused, her heart racing not with fear but readiness. She thinks, if these people want a showdown, maybe it's time she shows up. Maybe it's time she stops fading. But before she can step inside, a figure appears in the doorway, Principal Whitman, clipboard in hand, eyes hard and precise. Madison Clarke, my office now. No explanation. No hesitation. The entire hallway seems to press around her. And now Madison knows, this is more than rumors. This is escalation. The game is on, and she just got called into the principal's office again. But this time it feels different. The stakes feel higher. The risk feels real. And she walks forward with one thought: whatever happens next will change everything. As Madison steps into Principal Whitman's office, the door closes behind her, and outside Chloe enters the counselor's room, tears in her eyes, ready to confess. She saw something last night, something powerful, and it's going to turn Madison's world upside down. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. Madison stepped into Principal Whitman's office as the door clicked behind her. She sensed every whisper fade as the lights hummed overhead. Whitman motioned to a seat as she closed her clipboard with a snap. His posture was rigid, gaze unreadable. Behind him, a framed photo of his graduation stared back at her. Nobody spoke. The silence stretched until he spoke. Madison, we heard from multiple sources. You made some statements about racism at this school, directed at staff. That isn't okay. Madison's heart thudded. She realized this wasn't about a rumor. It was a formal charge. She cleared her throat. I said I want fairness. That's all. Whitman frowned. That's not how others perceived it. And now teachers feel unsafe. Students feel polarized. We need to unpack this or we escalate. He slid a form across the desk. Suspension, or a mediated dialogue with student council, parents, and staff. The choice: public shaming or structured conversation. She stared at the form. Her vision blurred. She glanced at him. What did he want? He waited. Finally, she signed the dialogue option. A nod of relief, tempered by apprehension, as she realized this meeting would lift rumors into the spotlight. Down the hall, Chloe wept in the counselor's office. Her voice trembled. She doesn't know what happened after practice. I didn't tell Madison. She took a shaky breath. She went to the restroom. I waited and then I heard her. She was crying. Not because she was scared, but because something happened in there. I heard voices, hers and another voice. The counselor leaned in. What did you hear, Chloe? Chloe stumbled. They said, you don't belong, freak. Maybe we make sure of that. And she sounded so scared. She shook her head, wiping tears. I didn't know what to do. I just froze. The counselor nodded and grabbed her phone. Thank you for telling me. We'll act. Madison left Whitman's office with counselors waiting. Chloe followed at a distance, witnessing her leave alone. As Madison walked down the hallway, whispers erupted. Talk to the principal, huh? She's in trouble now. Her palms tightened around her binder. She forced her voice steady. Yes. For fairness. Her classmates stepped aside, eyes averted as though guilt threatened to spill. She made it to room 124, sat at her desk but couldn't focus. Her teacher spoke, but it sounded muffled. Her eyes drifted to the window. Ticket lines formed outside. A group had been expected to demonstrate support. Social media loomed. No one had told her. At home that night, Madison's mother greeted her with a worried look. Who set this up? Madison just stared. Mom, there might be a student-led assembly tomorrow. They tried to involve me. She sank onto her bed. I don't want to protest. Her mother sat beside her, hand warm on her arm. We'll figure it out, she said. That night, Madison opened her phone, demands overflowing. Some messages supportive. Some angry, speak for us. Others hateful, she thinks she's better. She realized her words had set off a tidal wave. She just signed up to lead it. The next morning, Madison entered school to a different soundtrack. Announcements blared over the PA. All students, go directly to the auditorium at second period. A crowd formed in the foyer, many cheering her arrival. Others shunned her. She followed them into seats. Upstairs, cameras flicked on. The room erupted in chatter as the principal stepped up beside counselors and student reps. Madison swallowed. Before anything could begin, Chloe walked in, shoulder trembling. She scanned the room and then locked eyes with Madison. Inside Chloe's expression, fear, guilt, urgency. She mouthed something, unheard. Madison leaned in just as Chloe stood ready to speak, but the principal raised his hand to start. As the packed auditorium falls silent, Chloe opens her mouth, and then the fire alarm pulls everyone into chaos. Students dash for exits. Madison searches the crowd. Chloe disappears amidst the surge. When alarms die, all that's left is an open mic stand, an empty stage, and the echo of what Chloe almost said. Who pulled the alarm and what secret was Chloe about to reveal? The next part holds the truth about the night that changed everything. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. The siren's wail ripped through the auditorium, flinging students into the aisles like startled birds. Madison's heart pounded as the PA system crackled with the protocol announcement, "Fire alarm, evacuate immediately." She dashed out, her eyes scanning for Chloe in the swirling crowd. The tension on stage dissolved into chaos in the aisles, parents crying, students shouting. The urgency drowned out Chloe's last words. Outside, sirens wailed, sprinklers hissed through shattered glass panes overhead, and the air filled with the scent of burnt toast from recently reset alarm sensors. Madison forced her way toward the stage exit, adrenaline heightening every sense. She glimpsed Chloe near the backstage curtain, face pale as stone, her eyes wild. Madison reached for her, but a teacher shepherded the press and cameras away from the foyer. A police officer's flashlight swept the spilled coffee and overturned chairs. People muttered about bias, accountability, safety. No one knew the alarm had been pulled prematurely. No one knew it was Chloe, standing with tear tracks stained in her blouse, holding the fire alarm handle. She slipped away into the school halls. Madison didn't see her anymore. Inside Dr. Whitman's office, parents, counselors, and student council members huddled in crisis mode. The principal checked his phone anxiously. Chloe's expected testimony? Gone by 2 p.m. A counselor cast a look at Madison's mother. She's not here. Madison's mother bristled. Then we decide. You let their silence define them, or you let her voice speak. But in the parking lot, Chloe huddled behind a bus, shaky and small. A student reporter, notebook in hand, approached her. Chloe? They want to know what you were going to say. Chloe backed away. No, I can't. It's worse. The reporter pressed. Did you see something? Say something. Chloe shook her head. Not out there. Inside. Wait. Back inside, Madison sat between her parents and Dr. Whitman. The principal cleared his throat. Cameras refocused on the stage. Due to the fire alarm and safety concerns, we'll reschedule the open forum. In the meantime, investigations are underway. He turned to Madison. Including the events before class yesterday. Madison and her mother exchanged looks. Inside the school's digital records hub, IT specialists intercepted a deleted group chat thread from the anonymous girls. They'd planned the shaming, but then Chloe's name appeared. She promised screenshots of a conversation she'd had overheard involving ethnic slurs. As they reopened the chat, messages scrolled, "We'll ruin her. She thinks she's better," and then, "We caught her crying in the restroom." Chloe proofreading, "Is this enough?" School's admin gasped. The next morning, tension hung like fog as Madison entered school. Word had leaked about audio from that chat, about insults, orchestrated rumor campaigns, surveillance bathroom confrontation, and Chloe's involvement was key. Students crowded by lockers, whispering. Teachers looked away. Madison made her way through, clutching her notebook. The counselor tapped her arm. "They've cleared the auditorium. They want to finish your forum." Chloe's requested to speak. Madison inhaled, steadying her name. She climbed the stage again, empty seats awaiting. But before she could begin, the auditorium doors burst open. Chloe entered first, face resolute, eyes red-rimmed. Just behind her came an unexpected figure. Coach Daniels, standing not in uniform but in a tailored suit. His presence stunned the staff and parents. He scanned the room, then stared fixedly at Madison and Chloe. The hush deepened as he took a single step forward and declared in a calm, loud voice, "I have something to tell you all." Coach Daniels takes a deep breath, and reveals he recorded the bathroom incident Chloe witnessed. Proof that Madison was taunted with horrendous slurs, not by kindness but by organized cruelty. He's ready to share the recordings, but a hand reaches out and snatches his phone mid-opening as the cameras roll. Will the truth come out? Or will the evidence vanish before Madison can clear her name? Continue to the moment of reckoning. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. Here is where Madison's story reaches a critical turning point. Evidence emerges, tensions spike, and everything hinges on one stolen recording. The moment Coach Daniels entered the auditorium, suit, phone in hand, confidence radiating, it felt like the storm's eye. He surveyed the assembly, students, parents, administrators perched at the front, tense, expectant. Madison and Chloe sat beside each other, grief and courage etched into their faces. The principal hovered behind his podium. Coach cleared his throat. "I have something important to share." Cameras focused. The principal adjusted his microphone uneasily. Coach lifted his phone, unlocking it. "I recorded the bathroom incident Chloe witnessed." He pressed play. All eyes fixed on the screen portions. Recordings of harsh whispers, slurs, taunts, laughter directed at Madison in the restroom. The audio was clear, visceral. A hush enveloped the room as the crowd heard the orchestrated cruelty. "Listen carefully," Coach urged. Madison flinched, but Chloe squeezed her hand. The slurs were unmistakable. Rage and sorrow rippled through the audience. A teacher gasped. Parents looked at each other in stunned silence. The principal looked pale. Then, a figure lunged from the front row. Another adult. They grabbed Coach's phone, yanking it from his hand. The screen flickered and went dark. A beat of silence filled the room, but then murmurs escalated into heated whispers. Coach didn't move. He stared at the empty phone. The principal regained composure. "We'll review evidence in private," he announced stiffly. "But this is serious." Cameramen hovered, capturing the tension. A student reporter whispered into their mic, "What was on the phone?" Madison felt all oxygen drain, yet adrenaline surged. Chloe slumped against her, shaken. Coach held her shoulder and said quietly, "That was truth. It's out there." Word spread through the assembly. Some students rushed forward demanding answers. Others recoiled from the raw reveal. Administrators retreated to whispering clusters. Madison climbed a few steps to the stage mic. She cleared her throat. "That recording was me," she said firmly. "That moment wasn't an opinion. It was evidence." She held Chloe's eye. "It was our truth." Applause broke out, tentative but escalating. Then the principal stepped forward, voice cutting through. "We need to pause. This is out of our process. We'll reconvene tomorrow." Cameras clicked. The foyer emptied. Madison, Chloe, Coach, the principal, standing on stage in a charged tableau. Clarity won, but decorum demanded a reset. Later, in the principal's office, Dr. Whitman, Madison's mother, Chloe, Coach, and a school lawyer conferred. The lawyer argued, "Without the recording we only have testimony. With this, we could face Title IX and bullying policy violations." Dr. Whitman nodded. "We must proceed carefully." Coach demanded, "The recording must stay. It needs to be documented as part of the investigation." The lawyer hesitated. "It's school policy. We can't retain evidence captured during student safety." Coach's expression hardened. "That's a policy loophole, your loophole, and we'll file a grievance." Across town, in the district superintendent's office, officials watched a live-stream clip of the confrontation. The superintendent leaned in, eyebrows rising. They played the recording, and it got taken. A compliance officer tapped his pen. "We need to rewrite policy fast. Implicit bias training, check. Anti-bullying clause, reinforce. Recording retention, mandate." The superintendent sighed. "Yes, and hold staff accountable. No more loopholes." Meanwhile, in Madison's room that night, her phone pinged nonstop. Messages of support, calls from reporters, invitations to talk shows. But Madison was quiet, reflective. She stared at her locker photos, biology, math, volleyball, then at the bathroom tiles etched into memory. She closed her eyes. Tomorrow would be crucial. The next morning, Madison awoke to loud knocking. She opened the door to two unexpected faces, a representative from the Office for Civil Rights, OCR, and the district's Attorney General investigator, both holding subpoenas. They announced, "We're here to collect every piece of evidence, including that recording." Madison's breath caught. Her truth and the school's fate hang poised on whether the recording can be retrieved, or if someone destroyed it. The final part will reveal whether justice prevails. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. Here is the gripping culmination of Madison's journey, where truth meets accountability and institutional change is demanded. Coach Daniels stood firm in the principal's office as the OCR representative and Attorney General investigator entered, carrying subpoenas for all relevant evidence, including that stolen recording. A hush fell over the room. Madison's mother gripped her hand tightly. Dr. Whitman's posture stiffened. This wasn't just a school matter, it was now a federal investigation into potential civil rights violations under Title IX, not just bullying policy. The OCR rep addressed the group. We have actual notice of a recording capturing harassment based on race. Title IX prohibits any retaliation or mishandling. We need every piece of evidence. This aligns with the regulation that once a school has actual knowledge, it must respond promptly and appropriately to harassment allegations. The AG investigator added a legal tone. We're evaluating whether the school's actions or inactions meet the standard of deliberate indifference. Dr. Whitman looked pained. He opened a locked cabinet. No recordings. Coach chimed in, someone took it. Someone knew it'd expose them. The OCR rep made notes. We will need full interviews and retention policy documents. Schools must not avoid evidence by deleting it. Under OCR rules, destroying or withholding evidence can itself be a violation. Meanwhile, in public space, Madison had agreed to a town hall interview after threats that the school would spin the narrative. She sat before cameras, flanked by Chloe and Coach Daniels, and spoke with composed strength. I came forward not to humiliate, is to ensure no other student is invisible, fearful, erased. That recording was truth. She paused. If the truth vanishes, we fail again. Social media buzzed. Advocates posted comparisons to next Benedict OCR cases, where failure to adequately investigate bullying or harassment led to grievous outcomes. Now, Maple Grove High was under similar scrutiny. Late that evening, Dr. Whitman met with the school board. He confessed, the recording is gone. I don't know who took it. Board members glanced. One asked about staff interviews, exit interviews, cell phone logs. Another mentioned Title II and Title IX obligations requiring non-discriminatory investigations and record-keeping. The board voted to place Whitman on administrative leave pending the AG's findings, and to immediately suspend any staff who interfered with investigations. The next morning, police escorted a custodian, 2 teachers, and a student rep into offices for questioning. Meanwhile, Coach Daniels, under subpoena, was able to provide a backup of the recording he saved on a cloud drive. It was authenticated with metadata intact. The AG investigator held it up for a camera live-streamed across platforms. Silence fell. At a press conference, the superintendent read from a statement, "We pledging cooperation with OCR and AG. We affirm support for all students and we promise reform." Social media erupted with support hashtags like #TruthRestored, #JusticeForMadison. Madison watched from home, turning off her phone after hundreds of texts. She sat with Chloe, both processing what victory now meant. 1 week later, OCR issued a resolution agreement with the district. 1. Implementation of a mandated Title IX record retention policy, including evidence like recordings, retention for at least 5 years. 2. Immediate establishment of a bias and harassment reporting protocol, ensuring no student faces reprisals. 3. Requirement for non-indifference training for administrators and staff. 4. A public apology posted on the district website, along with the recording transcript. 5. Annual reviews and climate surveys, reported to the public in OCR for 3 years. At a final assembly, the district superintendent handed Madison a framed citation, "For courage that advanced justice and safety for all students." The crowd rose in applause, standing, sobbing, relieved. When truth is threatened by ignorance or fear, only courage and accountability can restore justice. Madison's story shows that by exposing hidden harm, even when silenced, the powerless can hold systems to their highest ideals. Under laws like Title IX, schools are bound to protect every student, not just in theory but in record and action. Real change requires transparency, integrity, and unwavering resolve. And sometimes, the bravest voice is the one that stands up in the silence. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths.